Well, good morning. It's just past midnight here. In fact, let's look. Oh, it's just past 1 o'clock. It already went it was past midnight when I got up, but I've been here at the computer for a while. The title of the video for today, which is the video for the May the 10th, is I'm in Canberra, comma, A.C.T. For me, it's time to act, which is the abbreviation for Australian Capital Territory. I will be here until Friday morning, when I hope to catch a bus back to Melbourne. I will also be visiting Peter's mom, who lives a couple hours drive towards Sydney during my stay in this part of, of the country. And I'm having trouble reading because the computer is the screen is further away from me than what it normally is. Anyway, let me lean forward and read this, and then I'll sit back again. Uh, let's see. After the very long car trip yesterday, I've decided that once I get back to Melbourne, I want to stay pretty much in that area until I leave to return to Florida. If I had more resources, I'd simply get a motel. Things are quite expensive here, however, and I will need help to make the rest of my trip go as smoothly as possible. Yes, I'm asking for volunteers and/or donations, and I'm really sorry I underestimated costs. Indeed, uh, I just did not plan on some of the things that have occurred uh, so far on the trips. I've been caught a bit off guard and quite a bit challenged, to say the least. So I am doing something that, again, goes against my grain, because I don't do what I do to be rewarded for it monetarily. One of the things that I think is very wrong with the world is everything is about money, money, money. And I've endeavored through the whole, into now my 6th year of making videos, to not make what I do about money. I've offered my videos freely, and I will continue to do so as long as I am able to do so. Perhaps this time, however, when I took a venture so far away from my comfort zone and my familiar ground, uh, perhaps this time I just maybe bit off a little bit more than I could chew, and I did not make enough plans to cover all my bases for a month. So uh, I'm having to do something that, again, is not something that I like to do. Now I want to say this. I got to travel with Peter yesterday, of course, and oh, why do I always have trouble remembering his name? Uh, it's not for me a common name, but it is a common name in England, which is, I think, where he's from. But he's now living, of course, in Australia, and he's one of Peter's friends, and he's one of my friends when I was with Swiss Indo. Wonderful, wonderful man, and I don't remember his name. I hate it when I do that, but I just don't remember in this moment, uh, which sort of pisses me off. But anyway, um, we had a long drive in a subcompact car, and just like in the airplane, I mean, I'm a little bit cramped for space, but I did pray, and at least the pain in my leg that I started experiencing on the airplane flights, um, at least that dissipated for the last few hours of the trip here. In the beginning of the trip, my left leg, believe it or not, was the one that was hurting terribly with a cramp. But we it's worked was worked out, and the latter part of the trip went much more pain free for me. Um, but this I didn't get to see Canberra in daylight, because by the time we got here, it was already dark. And in fact, we got here toward the latter part of the rush hour traffic going out of the city, and we had to take Peter's friend, or my friend too, home, who lives slightly north of the city and actually out of the Capital Territory, right on the border, but it's still out of the territory. Uh, and then we got here and we had a wonderful meal. I got to meet Peter's wife, of course, and daughter and mother-in-law. And as I said in the blurb, Peter's mother, who lives about a couple of hours uh, east of here toward Sydney, and she wants to meet me. So we're going to go and meet her on Wednesday, and I believe return some point on Thursday. And then Friday morning, as I said, I hope to make the trip from Canberra back to Melbourne. And it is my prayer and my hope that many of my friends will help me. I do have a friend that promised that I'd be able to that would get me a motel room or a hotel room for two nights, which I think is a wonderful gesture, a wonderful gift. And I hope that wherever I stay, it's mostly in the area around Unity of Melbourne, which I hope to go back to at least once, but if possible, two and possibly even three more times if I'm not going on some of the things that were potential plans earlier further north. I mean, I can't take the rides, and I'm going to try to be making changes in my airline pass so that I get a hopefully a seat by an exit so that I can have a little bit more leg room and I'm not cramped for the long flight back to the U.S. from Australia. So these are just some things that I'm talking out loud, and I know this isn't an exciting video or anything like that. It's a video that I'm making primarily for uh, just to assist me. I'm, I'm informing my friends what's happening and letting you know that I need assistance. I have contacted one of my friends in Europe who has contacts here in the Melbourne area, and he has promised me that he's going to see what he can do, and I'm sure that there will be other people that will come forward to help me. And believe me, I appreciate all the help that I can get more than you realize. Uh, as for donations, yeah, that would be helpful. But even more than donations, places to stay uh, are very, very, very important to me for the last 2 to 3 weeks of my visit here in Oz, as they call it, the land of the wizard. And my friend Peter is sort of a wizard, and he and I are going to be doing some videos together. He has stretched my mind a lot and given me lots of things to think about and uh, meditate on. And uh, I don't always agree with everything, and we've had some lively discussion back and forth. So I'm still trying to think of our other friend's name that was in the car with us, and it's still why does that name so hard for me to keep in my mind? It just is. I forget, and it bothers me, and I'm sorry to keep bringing that up, but it's troubling me that I can't remember somebody that I've spent so much time with now on venturing back and forth on this trip since I arrived in Australia and since they visited me down there in Melbourne, and then the trip back up here to Canberra. Anyway, uh, folks, if you are able to help, or if you know somebody that is, please forward this video to them. And I trust that God will work everything out the way that it's supposed to be. And I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of new people and connecting with people here in Melbourne. And again, I'm not going to venture very far from Melbourne. Uh, once I get back there for the rest of my stay here. I just think it's more than I can handle in my situation and condition. And Australia is huge. I mean, the ride is very, very, very long. Just going to Canberra, which to me looks fairly close, but it's not. We're talking an 8 hour 8 hours, and we stop, of course, because we have to stop to try to stretch our legs and get a bite to eat and make bathroom stops and stuff like that. So anyway, uh, thank you for listening. And I just noticed that I went way beyond because I can't really see the numbers on the little little thing that tells me how much time I've spent, but I've gone over 10 minutes. So if you know of anybody, please pass this video along or contact me at paradoxman@cfl.rr.com, which is my email address, or just comment on this on Facebook or YouTube. So thank you once again, and namaste.